Doctor, I only want what my insurance covers. If my insurance doesn't cover it, don't do it.
Oh, no.
How many times have we heard something like this? Oh my God. Dr. David Madow along with
Dr. Richard Madow. Welcome to the Dental Practice Fixers podcast. We are so happy to have you with us today. Let's just get right down to a question from a listener. Here's what the question says. Yes, I'm reading it off of an email.
Of course.
If you want to email your question, and by the way, you can do it to info@madow.com, probably the easiest way to remember it, info@madow.com. Maybe next week we'll be reading your question. So this is from Dr. J. Hawkman in Ohio. He didn't say what city. I guess it's just somewhere in Ohio. Okay, and it says, guys, I have what you might call a typical practice in the Midwest. Lots of good folks, middle income, most have insurance. You get the picture. Do you get the picture?
Kind of.
I totally get the picture.
Kind of.
Sounds like a nice place to be.
Yeah.
Yep.
I like it already.
So do I. Something that really frustrates me is when patients say, I only want what my insurance covers, or sounds good, doc, but if my insurance doesn't pay for it, I can't get it done. What can I do about this? Dr. J. Hawkman, somewhere in Ohio. O-H-I-O. That's another Madow trick. Those of you who are maybe contemplating going on the dental speaking circuit, if you ever speak in the state of Ohio, when you get up to the microphone, the first thing you say is, O-H-I-O. Well, they respond I-O. Unless I don't know, maybe there are cities where they don't like Ohio State.
Of course, I would think.
Like maybe University of Ohio. I can't remember where that is, but I guess they don't maybe like Ohio State that much. I don't know what.
But I think if you're in the Columbus area, right, it's pretty
absolutely
safe. Pretty safe.
Yeah. Maybe if you're in Ann Arbor, Michigan, definitely do not do that. just a suggestion.
Just a suggestion.
So Dr. Hawkman, great question. What do you think?
Yeah.
I have some opinions, but go ahead.
Do you want my opinion?
Sure.
Okay, well, I see it on two levels, actually. So, because let's face it, this is rampant in all dental practice across North America, at least the U.S., sure. I see it on two levels. Number one, patient education. Patient needs to be educated on what's going on and why it's important to have done, and why you just can't like pick and choose and do things that only your insurance is going to cover. That's number one. And number two is have ways available for the patient to pay that insurance for the amount that the insurance is going to cover. I guarantee if that patient wanted a 60-inch big screen TV, there's a way to finance that.
For the big game?
For the big game.
We're not allowed to say Super Bowl.
Super Bowl.
It's copyrighted. We can only say the big game.
Oh, we're getting sued. Can
we say
badly.
Stanley Cup? I think that's probably before the
Stanley
Super Bowl.
Cup is an old friend of mine, actually.
Okay. You know him, Stanley Cup?
So, like I said, if that person wanted a new car or a 60-inch TV, they're going to find a way to finance it. They're not going to say, I only want my insurance covers. They're not going to do that because insurance isn't covering that.
Yeah, but on the other hand, if they want a new car, they might want a really expensive car. They might want a Mercedes, but say, well, I can't afford that, so I'm going to get whatever, a nice Hyundai Elantra. I mean, so it's not like the sky's the limit here, right?
Yeah, but if you look around at most people driving cars, most people are driving cars they can't afford.
That's true.
They're just making payments.
Just make payments, doctor.
That's right, exactly. So that's my thing.
Is that on the list?
We got to make sure. We got to check that out.
Okay.
But so two things, education and financing somehow, working out payment, some type of payment.
Well, I want to comment on both things you said and then throw in something else. I agree with education to a certain extent, but I think, and this is actually something we're going to touch upon in our call of the week this week, I think sometimes when doctors or assistants or hygienists or whoever, treatment coordinators try to educate, they give too much information.
Oh, that's
they
true.
Overtalk, they over-explain, and they scare the patient away, and then they're worse off than they were before if the patient had just gotten what insurance covered. So you got to be really careful
That's true.
when you're trying to so-called educate the patient. What you're really trying to do is move them towards treatment, and we can talk about that maybe now or another episode. Secondly, I totally agree. Have financing available. We love care credit, as you know, and present it that way. Say, we can do this and the payments will be $120 a month or whatever it is. It just makes it much easier to understand and to take. But I'm going to take maybe a slightly different tack.
Sure.
Say that, as some people say, present when you have to present. Some will, some won't. Who's next? And I think if you have a practice, let's say typical practice, I don't know, Dr. Hawkman, how many patients do you have, active patients? I don't know, 1,200, 1,500, 2,000, something like that. A certain percentage, probably way more than half, are just going to be insurance-driven patients, and you can explain, you can over-explain, you can mansplain, you can, as some people say, talk to the cows come home, and they're just not going to be interested. And a certain percentage will want the best you have to offer. And I think maybe in some ways, I hate to use the term profile, maybe we have to profile our patients and say who's who, and say, look, if 65% of my patients are just insurance patients, they go through the insurance treadmill, they want what insurance covers, but they still come in every 6 months and we love them, well, maybe we should just accept those patients. I'm not saying not offer them the best, but don't drive yourself crazy. Don't tear your hair out with these kinds of questions. And then the patients maybe who want a more advanced level of dentistry and are willing to pay for it, that's fantastic. Let's give them what they want too.
Well, yeah, I agree. You don't have to tear your hair out. You don't have to say, let's either get everything done or you go to another practice. But I still think it's worth a great effort to make sure they understand why they need this, why it's important to get it done. And we have financing options. So, and explaining to them that insurance is not meant to cover all dental care, but it's meant to be an adjunct to help them out. And you're really fortunate that you have it, but it's not going to cover everything. And these are really important things you got to get done or your mouth is going to be infected and rotting away. So
totally agree. I completely agree with that. I think maybe the path that I'm worried about is, and we saw this in a practice that we were working with several years ago, where I can't remember if it was a dentist or a team member, was kind of almost getting into a little debate with the patient. And all these things are true, what they were saying. Like, well, the insurance company didn't examine your mouth. The insurance company doesn't care about you. All they care about is your bottom line. And I think when you start going down that road, you're getting combative, and it really turns the patient off.
Right. That doesn't mean anything.
But I think what you just said is a nicer way of saying that insurance isn't meant to cover everything. It's an adjunct that helps you pay for this treatment that you do need.
And you're very fortunate that you have it. A lot of people don't even have it, and they've got to pay everything out of pocket. You've got this great help here. So
I remember when I was a young practitioner, I had a patient who, they had pretty crappy insurance, and they were asking me questions like, well, why doesn't my insurance cover this? Do I really need it? And I made the mistake. I said to him, look, I got to be honest with you. You have really lousy insurance. And the second I said it, I thought, shit, I should not have said that. And the patient kind of took it personally, It was a really, really bad thing to say. So I think...
Did he come back? I wonder if they came back.
I don't remember if he came back as a regular patient, but I remember he did not get the treatment done that I was trying to get him to do, that insurance wouldn't cover much of. So I think it's always important to stay positive. Don't get into a fight with the patient. Don't tell them they have crappy insurance, even if they do. They'll probably know by the end of your conversation anyway. So, yeah, I mean... a lot of good points, but I think one point is realize that...
How about if you just say your insurance is, it's not crappy, but it's kind of low end. Most insurances pay more than yours. You're kind of like a low end insurance.
I don't know if I would say that. Your insurance is pretty good. It's not it's fair. It's pretty bad. It's mediocre. A lot of words for that. So-so.
On a scale from like mild to hot, it's like probably around a 2.
Mild to hot? Was this like
a Thai restaurant? Right.
It's not Thai spicy, that's for sure.
By the way, as a quick aside, I was in a Thai restaurant like a month or so ago, and
a month or so. I thought you were in one like once a week.
Well, I was in one a few days ago too, but this is the particular one I want to tell you. But just real quickly about that. So I think they said, well, how spicy do you want it? I said, well, what can we do? How spicy? She said, well, we can do. What'd she say? We can do from. She said 5 is the hottest. So in other words. She said, "Do you want a 5?" I think she said, "Do you want a 5?" And meanwhile, without like a scale there, you don't.
You need to know the scale. Could be 5 out of 100.
Exactly. That's what it was. She said, "Like, well, we could do a 5, but I don't know where 5 is on the scale."
But all you have to do is ask. It never hurts to ask. Did you ask?
Well, because it never hurts to ask. I can't remember if I asked or not. I just said, "Give it to me as hot as you can."
Well, it's funny because I was in a Thai restaurant one time. And they told me the spicy was a scale of 1 to 10, and I said I want an 11. And not only did I not want an 11, but she totally didn't get the Spinal Tap reference joke, which...
There's no way she'll get that.
I was going to say, I guess in retrospect, I really shouldn't have expected her to get that.
And then if she did, you would have been screwed. Like the plate would have been on fire.
On fire. They would have brought it out like actually in flames.
Fire.
So yeah, maybe not a good idea to rate your patient's insurance.
Maybe not, yeah.
But I do think in general also, in dental practice, in life maybe, I'm not saying you shouldn't have high expectations, but it's also good to understand that the best is not for everyone. And that if you have a good patient that comes in every 6 months and maybe they've made some referrals and maybe they're more insurance driven than you would prefer, they can still be a good patient.
Yeah, totally.
So don't get all, as some people would say, all frustrated.
There there are a lot of references in this episode.
I know.
Too
Don't
many.
get all
probably.
frustrated. Why do some people leave the first R out of frustrated? I've heard that. Is that like a Mid-Atlantic or Baltimore thing? I don't know.
I think it is.
Just get very frustrated.
We'd like to hear from some of our California people if anybody there says frustrated.
I doubt they do in California.
No way.
They probably don't even use that word at all. Nobody's frustrated in California.
Well,
everybody's
are you
happy.
kidding me? With
it's
the high
Golden
taxes,
State.
they're probably all frustrated.
They all love it there.
Should we do the call? I think we've said everything we have to say about this.
Not only do we have a really interesting call this week, we have a guest caller.
We have a guest caller today. Who's going to be doing the call today?
Well, I recruited Hope from the Madow Center for Dental Practice Success to do this call.
She's a pro.
And yeah, she was great. And we'll explain that in a second. Before we do that, I just want to let you know really quickly, it seems like November's a long way away, but TBSE is coming up fast. We fully expected to sell it this year. It's back in Las Vegas at the Tropicana Resort Hotel. Incredible speaker. I actually just had a little email exchange yesterday with one of our speakers, Dr. Steve Rasner. You probably know or have heard of Steve Rasner. He's the guy with the $4 million practice in one of the worst economically challenged cities in the country. Bridgeton, New Jersey, high poverty levels, high unemployment. Just not a place where you'd want to practice. Yet he amazingly not only has a $4 million practice, he loves going in every day, and he has patients. Speaking of the opposite of these insurance-driven patients, he has patients getting comprehensive care, saying yes to full treatment plans, putting down a deposit on the first day and saying, Doc, I want to do the whole shebang or the whole 9 yards.
I'm going to hear about that.
So he's going to explain.
He's going to be teaching the whole thing.
From A to Z, including something you need to say on the phone when a new patient calls before their first visit that nobody else is doing that makes a huge difference. He's going to be explaining his whole system from A to Z
I can't wait to
at
hear
TBSE.
that.
And that's only one of the fantastic speakers. So check out the whole speaker lineup, tbse.com. Sign up soon before it sells out and before the tuition goes up. We're still doing a little early birdish stuff. So we'll see you in Vegas at TBSE in November.
I'll tell you something. I'm going to go. It sounds great.
I hope
I'm
so.
going to be there.
I hope so. I hope you're going to be there.
While we're at it, Rich and I love what we do. We're doing this podcast for you. We don't charge for the podcast. You don't have to pay us any money. And these days, a lot of people
take a donation.
We would never turn it down, but people charge for all kinds of information. On our show here, we're actually not only giving you great information, but showing you a way that every time you listen, you can have money in your pocket. All you have to do is go to Fat Merchant, change your credit card processing company, and you will save a lot of money every single month, hardly making any change at all. All you have to do is go to bit.ly/fatmad. It's FATTMAD. Let them know that you know us. In fact, we use their company for our credit card process because we save a ton of money every single month. You will do the same thing. Why would you want to turn down $100, $200, $1,000 extra, whatever it might be, depending on the volume of your practice? Why would you ever want to turn it down? It's free money for you. Take advantage now. bit.ly/fatmad, FATTMAD. And if they use that link, they get a free terminal. What could be better?
Just like at the airport, there's a free terminal.
There's no outlay of any money in any way, I believe.
Got to do it.
Just switch, and it's so easy.
Yeah,
so
cool.
Do it.
Fat Mad. So I came into the office this morning, and Hope Miller, who a lot of you probably know, she's one of our great team members here, shows me this ad in a local magazine for dental practice. Right. And she said, "What do you think of this ad?" And I'm looking at the ad, and of course, you and I tear apart all ads that we see, but it had this one paragraph that was so scientific and went into so much detail. I said, what the heck? I didn't know what.
Did you understand it?
Not really. I mean, I got the gist of it, but
we're dentists.
But I didn't know the references they were making. So I said, Hope, let's do a call. She said, "Oh, you're going to call that office?" I said, "Hope, how about if you call?" So she did. She pretty much just read the ad back to them. And let's okay.
Can we play it?
Let's hear it. Yep. Okay, let's do the call.
Sure, sounds good.
Hi, good morning. I'm calling because I saw your ad in the Jewish Times. And I was reading your ad, and I had a question. It says here that you all provide periodontal therapy with an emphasis on reducing systemic inflammation and infection to support optimal cognitive, resident, and cardiovascular Bale-Donine health. What the heck does that mean? I don't even understand that.
So Bale-Donine is, if you look that up, because it's very complicated, but Bale-Donine is two cardiologists who one's last name is Bale and the other one is Doneen, they have basically finally in 2019 are admitting and that are recognizing that the pathogens and the bacteria in the mouth are leading to not only heart disease and diabetes, but also to Alzheimer's. And so we are working with a cardiologist here in Maryland who is actually referring patients to us who have had heart disease of some form. Maybe they've had a heart attack or a stroke, or they are having heart problems, and they're referring them to us to do their dental treatment and to remove the bacteria to assess it. We do this test. We've always tested the bacteria, but now we're actually going deeper with our cardiac patients, and we're testing through a actual site that we'll send the test to, and then they'll test it to see what are the chances this person's going to have a heart attack.
Oh my gosh, thanks so much. I'm more confused than ever, but I really appreciate your explaining everything.
But if you Google Bale-Doneen method, you will be probably overwhelmed with information that's so interesting. We are so deep into it. Every month we have a 2-hour meeting and we talk about all the new information that we're learning. It's new to us too. We've only been on this path for maybe the last 6 months. So every month we learn new stuff. It's so much to learn. We're actually all reading the book. But we've known for years that the bacteria in the mouth are causing people to not only have heart attacks and heart disease, but to die. And but we just couldn't seem to get cardiologists on the same, path. And now they are. Now they're starting to be like, okay, maybe my patient needs to go to the dentist. So we're like one of the only dentists that are on this journey. So.
Wow, you are doing great work. I want to thank you so much. I really appreciate your explaining everything to me.
Oh, you're welcome. All right, take care.
Bye-bye.
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 Ooh!
Wake up! Okay.
That was great.
Talk about over-explaining. I mean, I love how she said, it's very complicated. And if you Google this, you'll be overwhelmed. Okay, great. Wow. She was knowledgeable.
She was very knowledgeable. Yeah. I give her, I think it's great what they're doing. In general, it's great what they're doing, but to have an ad like that in a local paper and with all those words, you could do it so much differently and have a better effect.
I totally agree. I think she was also going into dangerous territory there a little bit. And this is just maybe splitting hairs, but saying that it's been shown that the bacteria in the mouth can cause heart attacks. I think maybe linked to heart attacks and stroke is one thing, but causing heart attacks?
Right.
Wow. But again, I know she was doing her best.
I got a little bit scared. I started thinking, I better have the bacteria in my mouth checked out.
Started getting chest pains?
I started a little bit.
My jaw hurts a little bit on the left side. I think the double critique would be this, and you remember when Hope read the ad, no layperson is going to read this ad and say, oh my God, I know exactly what this means. I want to go to this office. Right. And then I don't think she made things any better when Hope called.
Right. It was, look, we could talk about this probably for 20 minutes, but it was way too complex. Again, I think what they're doing is a great service. They're paying more attention to periodontal needs than most dentists are. It's great, but explain it in lay terms.
Okay, for example, it's been shown now that inflammation in your gums or even low-level forms of gum disease can be linked to heart attacks and stroke, and we're paying extra careful attention to that. And that's why Hopkins cardiologists are actually referring their patients to us. Boom.
That would actually get me in there.
I think this office is unbelievable.
Right.
Speaking of getting you in there.
Oh, yeah, exactly. She went through this, I don't know how long the call was, 3 to 4 minutes, it seemed like.
Did you call it a spiel?
Like more.
It was a whole spiel.
The whole spiel. And at the very end, when Hope said, thank you so much, you were really helpful, she said, okay, bye.
Unbelievable.
She took all that time to explain it, and she never even once said, can we set up an appointment? Does this resonate with you? Is there anybody in your family that has heart disease or you're concerned? Anything like that? Nothing.
Now, as we always say, not only does the doctor have no idea that happened, but they're paying big bucks for this full page ad.
Oh, yeah.
And they're paying a lot of shekels for that ad in the Jewish Times.
Oh, yeah, right.
And then somebody calls, amazingly actually calls referencing the ad. Which,
we were probably the only ones.
No question about it. And then she does this long explanation, and the patient has vanished. Never asked for her name.
Probably she went up to, Doctor, we got a call from the ad. We got one. So he said,
when are they coming in?
How did it go? Well, I didn't really ask for the appointment. What do you mean you didn't ask for the appointment?
Who are they? You got their names, so we can call them back, right?
I didn't get any information. Let me look at caller ID to see if it showed up there.
Caller ID just shows Skype.
Skype.
It was Mr. Skype. Wow.
So if we have to grade, I mean, I've got to give an F because she'd gotten no information. First of all, she was talking way too complex, and then she didn't get any information. It has to be an F. There's no other grade.
Could it be a double F?
It could be.
Yep. Okay. I'm going to do a double F. All right, everyone. That is your latest episode of the Dental Practice Fixers. Thanks so much for listening. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Dr. Richard Madow.
Dr. David Madow. Keep those cards and letters and questions coming. We'll see you next time. Thanks for being with us.